drop and give me 25. I'm the gunny.
It's time for the gunny.
The quarter deck. Lights. Get online right now. You got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Hello, my bunch of knuckle-dragging, beer-drinking, hard-charging devil dogs. You're listening to The Quarter Deck. I am your host, Miguel, the Gunny Signs.
Get off the bus!
I do solemnly swear. That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States. Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Hello, everyone. You're listening to The Quarter Deck with Miguel, the Gunny Signs, and I want to welcome everybody this morning and thank you guys for joining us here, wherever you're listening to us from, whether it's Apple, Spotify, or whatever podcasting application you are listening to us on. And this week on The Quarter Deck, we're going to go ahead and continue to move on our topic regarding talking about the VA benefits. Today, we're going to mostly focus on the VA Home Loan Guarantee. Last week, I got a lot of questions regarding the VA Home Loan Guarantee on my Facebook page, and I want to kind of go over the steps in the process of what you actually have to do in order for you to apply for a VA Home Loan Guarantee, to make sure that everybody kind of understands that it's not a very hard thing to do. The process is actually very, very easy. It is not complicated, and it's a great benefit that a lot of veterans that really don't take advantage of it. That could be because they are just not aware of the actual process or the steps that they have to take in order for them to actually move on and actually apply for the VA Home Loan Guarantee and be able to actually get a home, buy a house, most of the times with a lot of benefits. But we'll get into those here in just a minute. We're also going to move on into our next chapter of moving on with our reading of With the 1st Marine Division in Iraq of 2003, No Greater Friend, No Worst Enemy. The Quarter Deck. Today we're going to focus on talking a little bit more about the VA Home Loan Guarantee, because there are so many veterans that I've ran into, even when I was working for the VA aboard the air station, as many of you guys know that have been following me. You know, I taught the VA benefits classes for the service members as they're getting out of the service. And it's very important to me to make sure that they understand that I am telling them and explaining to them all the different types of benefits that they have that are available to them, because they're benefits that they've earned during their time of service, and I want to make sure that they take full advantage of them. And the VA Home Loan Guarantee, this is one of the big ones. This is one of the big ones that I want to make sure that people do understand and know that it is available for them, to make sure that they take advantage of it to purchase a home. Now, what is the VA Home Loan Guarantee? There's a big confusion, and I don't know if you can call it a confusion or not, but a lot of people assume that the VA is going to just give them a chunk of money. Here, go buy a house. Unfortunately, that's not how this benefit works. What the VA does is the VA backs up a loan for you that you're going to get pre-approved through a mortgage company, a bank, whoever you're going to go through prior to getting ready to buy the house. Now, with that, they have different programs with the VA Home Loan Program. One of them is to help you to actually buy, build, or improve a home or refinance your current home loan that you have right now. A lot of people don't realize that you can actually refinance your home with the VA Home Loan. And you're able to actually do that. And this also includes a VA direct loan and 3 VA back loans that you're able to get. All these programs that are out there that can help you to be able to actually purchase your own home. Now, the first thing you got to do, like I said, you have to get pre-approved. Now, in order for you to get pre-approved, you're going to have to go out there, do some research, and find the mortgage company, the bank, whoever you want to use in order to purchase the home. Now, I always tell everybody, hey, when you do this, don't just go to the first lender that is willing to lend you money, and that's it. That's the one that you're going to use, and you're going to be stuck doing with that stuff and everything. So you want to make sure that you actually do some research, go out there and look at the different programs that they have, whether it's your own personal bank. Maybe you want to use that. Now, for me, I've been a member of the Navy Federal Credit Union for I don't even know how many years, since I came into the Marine Corps back in 1995. And the only reason I did that was because my drill instructor said, go to that bank, don't go to the other one, get an account. And that way you have direct deposit before you leave here from Parris Island. So, like in my situation, the whole entire time that I was on active duty, I never, ever, ever purchased a home. It wasn't until after I retired back in 2015 that I finally decided that, hey, I'm going to go ahead and purchase a home. And I looked into using the VA home loan guarantee. So I did that. And what the process that I went through, I was under the impression that this was going to be a very, very difficult process in order to get approved for a loan. It was the simplest thing that I have ever done, because all I did was I did some research. I went through my bank, Navy Federal Credit Union. I went through other different banks that were out there for me to see what was the lowest interest rate that I could possibly get pre-approved for. And I ended up not even going with Navy Fed, because I found Mortgage First. They were the ones that offered me the lowest actual interest rate that I was going to be able to get to actually purchase a home. Now, we were going to build a brand new home. That's how we were getting the loan. And only thing I did was I did the application with them online, and I actually did it over the phone, and they pre-approved me right then and there. And the first thing that the lender asked me was, hey, how much do you need the pre-approval letter to be for in order for you to purchase the home? Now, at the time, the asking price for our home with all the upgrades and everything else that we wanted to do, it came up to $279,000. Now, she's like, okay, do you want it for that amount or do you want it for more? So she went ahead and gave me my pre-approval letter for $400,000, which is the max that they can give here where I'm at in Arizona. Now, so that covered me completely. So no matter what kind of house I wanted to go look for, I was pre-approved for $400,000. Now, does that mean that I was definitely going to go and buy a house worth that much? No, by no means. However, it actually allowed me to be able to go shop and look at different types of homes or areas that I wanted to build a house, and it gave me more options. So that's what that pre-approval letter is great for. Now, how do you get what you need from the VA in order for you to get the loan actually from your bank or wherever you got to do? First, you have to have a certificate of eligibility. Now, the certificate of eligibility you can get through va.gov, and that is the go-to website that a lot of people try to avoid. I don't know why people avoid it, but that is the go-to site that you want to go to get your certificate of eligibility for you to get that home loan guarantee. So once you go there, you can go there, log in with your credentials and stuff, and actually print it out yourself and then give that to the lender. Or believe it or not, the lender can actually pull it for you, so you don't even have to worry about doing anything. They'll pull the eligibility letter for you, include it in your documentations, and you're all set. You're ready to go. Now you have your pre-approval. You're free to go out there and do all the shopping that you want to do to make sure that you find the kind of home that you want to buy. Now, another question that people have asked me is, this is a long process. It's going to take forever for me to even get the house that I want to move into. That is the biggest misunderstanding that I've seen. Throughout my time when I worked for the VA aboard the air station here, there's been a lot of individuals that have come in and they've asked for assistance in getting their certificate of eligibility to purchase a home and went through the process of actually doing this. There were some individuals that actually purchased a home, and for me, it was pretty much the same thing. Once you got the pre-approval, submitted the paperwork through the lender, all that stuff and everything else, if it's already a constructed home that you're just buying that's already been built, you can get from start to finish from when you apply for that loan in 30 days. That's crazy. 30 days, you can go and move into a home and actually go there. Now, in my situation, I decided to purchase a house and build on a new property. So it was a new build. So obviously it was going to take a little bit longer before I can actually move into the house because it had to get built first. Okay, so for me, it took about 6 months for the whole entire process to be done, but that's because I was building a new home. Now, a couple other things that are going to happen when you do that. So you got the pre-approval letter. You decided what kind of home you want to buy. The paperwork is going to go in. What you can spend on the home is going to be determined by their lender. And of course, yes, they're going to look at your credit and they're going to go ahead and verify to see what you qualify for in order for you to be able to purchase that home. What the VA is going to do is they're going to back that loan for you. That's where the VA Home Loan Guarantee Program comes into play. They will back up the loan, so this way you won't have to have any home loan insurance or anything through the bank. The VA is going to back up that loan, so for whatever reason the veteran or the active duty service member happens to default on the loan, the VA is going to pay that portion that they backed up on it. So the bank knows that regardless, they're going to get some money back if something happens and the service member or veteran does not make any payments on that house. So that way they back it up, and this allows the individual to get more favorable interest rates from the bank because now they're being backed up by the VA. So this is going to help them directly because they're working with the VA with them, and then it's going to be a lower interest rates. The VA is going to send an inspector to the home to actually do an evaluation to make sure and see what the home is valued at, because and they don't do that because they're trying not to back up the loan or let the veteran purchase a home. What they do that for is because they want to make sure that the home is actually worth what they're selling it for and what you're going to be paying for this loan. They want to make sure that it's actually worth that, because they don't want you to purchase a home that is not worth what they're trying to charge you for. And, you know, and I've seen that before too, that a lot of people try to purchase a home and they're overpriced. And if the home is valued less than what the individual is selling the home for to the veteran, the VA is not going to back the loan. Now, they will back the loan if for the maximum amount that the home is worth. That is what they will back it up to. And anything over that, of course, the veteran is the one that's going to be responsible for paying the difference. Now, for the majority of all of these home loans that you get pre-approved from your lender and through the VA that backs it up, it is a 0 down payment that you would have to pay. There's no down payment at all whatsoever for these home loan guarantees. So this allows you to be able to get into a home even faster because, first of all, you know, I don't know about you, but, you know, nowadays, you know, it's about 20% that they ask you to put down of the price of the home as a down payment in order for you to purchase a house. You know, that's a lot. And a lot of people don't have that much money saved up, especially with the way that society is right now with employment and, you know, how expensive all the things around here are right now. We want to make sure that, you know, you're able to get into a home. And with this, you'll be able to get into that with no down payment at all whatsoever. Let's backtrack a little bit now. Pre-approval, lender is approved. You have your certificate of eligibility from the VA. The VA has sent an inspector out there to make sure that the home is worth what it says it's going to be worth. So they have all that stuff and everything else, and you're ready to go. Now, the next thing you got to do is wait for the paperwork to be finished, your loan to be finalized through the bank. Once all that is said and done, you'll go sign your paperwork, all that stuff, and then get your keys and move into your house. Believe it or not, it's a simple and easy process for you to be able to get a VA home loan guarantee and move into the home that you want to move into, because that's a benefit that you've earned because of your time that you were in the service. And, you know, and the way that the VA states this is that as long as you have something other than a dishonorable discharge, you are eligible to use your VA home loan guarantee. And that's amazing. If you're out there and you've never even looked into getting a VA home loan, I encourage you to take a look at it. Apply. The worst thing you can do is not apply and not know if you're going to get approved for the VA home loan. Depending on your discharge when you got out of the service, you know, if you got out with something other than a dishonorable discharge, go and apply. You know, of course, your overall credit is going to be the ultimate factor that's going to determine whether you're going to be able to qualify for a loan from that lender, that bank, that private bank, whatever, wherever you're planning on using. They're going to make that decision, and they're going to let you know whether you are going to be eligible to qualify for that loan. And that's the most important thing that you want to take a look at to make sure that you see if you're going to be able to qualify for that loan through the VA. I hope you guys are able to go look and see if you haven't planned on purchasing a home. And I hope the information is useful to you. And if you guys have any other questions regarding any of these VA benefits that we discussed here in the past couple of weeks, go to my Facebook page, The Quarter Deck with Gunny Signs. You can go on there and answer any questions or ask questions there. I am more than happy to answer them the following week here on the podcast to make sure that we get all the information out there to every veteran so that every veteran has all the knowledge that they need to have a better quality of life. The Quarter Deck is brought to you by Miguel Science Photography. From the beginning of your family to the first birthday and beyond. Whether it's a retirement or a Marine Corps ball, Miguel Science Photography is there to make memories that will last a lifetime. Miguel Science Photography is a certified veteran-owned business. Contact them at miguelsciencephotography.com.
What we're going to do right here is go back. Way back into time.
If you're just joining me, you're listening to The Quarter Deck with me, Miguel the Gunny Signs, and I want to welcome you guys to this week's edition of our podcast. Now it's time for us to go ahead and start moving along and reading the next section, the next chapter, the next adventure of our book that we've been reading, No Better Friend, No Worst Enemy in Iraq of 2003. And as many of you guys know, this is something that I was able to actually participate in as we were moving on the ground, doing the fighting from point A to point B to C, D, and so forth and everything else. So we're able to relate to all these. And I know that a lot of you that are listening to me out there were actually there as well with me, so you guys can relate to the dates, the times, the things that they're talking about here on what they were doing because we were physically there. Okay, so let's go ahead and start talking about the fire support planning and preparation that they were conducting for the day that we finally received the orders to go across that border from Kuwait into Iraq. Regardless of which route the division took, the CG's guidance made the role of fire support in the coming fight very clear. The enemy's tactical center of gravity was its indirect fire weapon systems, artillery, rocket launchers, and surface-to-surface missile systems. The mission of fires was their destruction. The BM TAC-21 mobile rocket launchers, elusive, easily camouflaged, and capable of firing in seconds a salvo that could saturate a grid square, would be relentlessly hunt down the batteries of G5 and GNH-45 howitzers capable of outranging the division's own M1908s. Those were my babies. The M1908 155mm howitzer. And other medium-range artillery would be located, identified, and attacked. The ideal prosecution of these targets was by the 3rd MAW aircraft before the division closed within their range, but many would survive the airstrikes. Hitting in palm groves or withdrawn into urban centers in concealment and protections, for those retribution by reactive counterfire would be swift and certain. The Iraqi regime, the Frog, TAC-7, Astros, and the Bal missile launchers topped the list of priority targets due to their ability to range the division's tactical assembly areas, breach sites, and bridges from extreme standoff ranges. All of these systems were also capable of delivering weapons of mass destruction. Hostile artillery is the natural enemy of artillerymen. The division's fire support coordinator, Colonel Mike Marletto, and the fire supporters of the 11th Marines had been preparing for this fight for years. Yes, that is my division. That's where we were. I was part of the 11th Marines, the artillery battalion there for the 1st Marine Division. So this is the portion of the story that they talk a lot about us. While the division's organic artillery would remain the workhorse of the counter-battery fight, the fire planners knew they would have to leverage the capabilities of the Army Multiple Launch Rocket Systems, or the MLRSs, and Marine Air. Speed, again, would be the measure of effectiveness, and the division would stack the full capabilities of combined arms in measures of effectiveness, and the division would stack the full capabilities of combined arms in its favor. The goal was to prepare the way for the RCTs to advance unimpeded so that the momentum and the combat power of the division would be sustained all the way to Baghdad. This would be accomplished by the aggressive division's deep fight, destroying artillery and maneuver formations before the RCTs ever closed with them. The Division G3 fires and air sections, together with the 11th Marines, had invested considerable time and effort in the development of techniques for controlling the division's general support fires with airborne controllers. But the work remained in its infancy. The division had also begun experimenting with quick-fire capability to bring air fires against the counter-battery targets. The wholehearted support of Major General James Amos, commanding general of the 3rd MAW, now energized the dialogue between wing and division planners. Captain Ryan C. Benningson, and the Division G3 Air Section, Captain Joe Deegan, the 11th Marines Air Officer, and Chief Warrant Officer Dave Thomas, the 11th Marines Radar Officer, were chiefs among the authors of the division's new quick-fire procedure. The quick-fire procedure developed used the 11th Marines Target Processing Center, or TPC, to provide radar data to the Direct Air Support Center, the DASC, Division Air, and to the Division's Fire Support Coordinator Center, the FSCC, in order to ensure redundant lines of communication and to expedite target processing. An Air Support Liaison Team, or the ASLT, was assigned to the 11th Marines CP, or Command Post. Captain Mark Halverson, 11th Marines S6, and Major Roger Stanfield of the Division Communications Company engineered the critical communications link between the Counterfire Headquarters and the DASC. Automated fire support technologies and training with the new systems progressed to the point where a hostile weapon dedicated by counter-battery radar and selected for attack by the TPC would be engaged by air within minutes. If within range, surface artillery could respond immediately to provide suppressive fires while aircraft from the stack were pushed to attack the target. The full support and cooperation of the 3rd MAW ensured the assets required to validate and concept were available. In November 11th, Marines, the 11th Marines, the Division's FSCC, and Marine Air Control Squadron 3, the MACS TAC 3, cooperated in the first live fire rehearsal of the quick-fire procedure at Camp Pendleton's Zulu and Whiskey Alpha impact areas. This exercise validated the concept with artillery response times and the aviation target cycle gradually going faster as the procedure was practiced. So as you guys can see, even from the get-go, they were already planning on using artillery as the main counter-battery attack, the way they were going to attack all their artillery fire support systems that they had there on the ground, especially with the Iraqi forces. That was their main stronghold, their power that they had. And I can relate and I can remember as we moved from Kuwait and made our way down to Baghdad, there were so many artillery pieces that we ran into that were destroyed because of all the artillery fire that we had sent down there as we were progressing and moving from our starting point all the way to Baghdad. So it's amazing to actually be able to read all these things that they actually documented and read about them now, because like I said, being there on the ground, it is difficult to actually see everything that's going on. You really don't have an idea of everything that's going on around you. All you know is what you're doing and what you have to do in order for you to make sure that you are going to be there every single day and make it back home safely, back to loved ones. Another week has already gone by, and it's just amazing how fast the days are going by, and this year just seems like it's flying faster than even last year. I want to take this opportunity and thank everybody for joining me this week, for sending me the questions and the things that you guys want to discuss. I know that a lot of you have questions regarding the VA benefits, and we'll continue to talk about that next week. We'll see what questions that you may have or what people post on Facebook so we can see which benefit we want to focus on a little bit more on. As well as we're going to go in and continue and move on with our next chapter in our book so we can continue to follow the timeline and the story of that 1st Marine Division as they prepare everything, get the planning done to go ahead and liberate the people of Iraq back in 2003. I also look forward to hearing from you guys for any other stories that you guys may have regarding being on duty or any things like that that might have occurred to you, or any other things. The one thing that I've been looking for is I had a paper that somebody wrote. I don't remember exactly who wrote this paper, but it had everything dealing with a Lance Corporal. And I can't even count how many times that I had Lance Corporals or PFCs come into my office, and I just commenced to clicking off safe and just went into town and destroyed this kid because of something retarded that he did over the weekend. But I'm looking for that. And so if any of you have anything like that or anything you want to share with us, post them on our Facebook page, get them out there so we can discuss them here on one of the episodes once I get them so I can fit it in there. So again, thank you guys for joining us here on the Quarterdeck. And just a reminder to everybody that we are now available on all of the podcasting applications that are out there. Spotify, Apple, Google. You can find us on all of those to make sure that you don't miss a single episode. Make sure you like and follow us so that way you know as soon as the next episode is uploaded. This is the Gunny sounding Liberty Call.
Get out the bus!
I do solemnly swear. That I will support and defend the United States. The Constitution of the United States. Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.